Political commentators and influencers have been getting doxxed left and right over the last week. We have a strong feeling that our guest today knows a thing or two about how to handle this and more in her own very amazing, specific, mean girl liberal fashion. I'm Maggie Gehlsen Burnett.
And I'm Mallory Hagan. This is Pretty Furious. What are we doing today, Maggie?
We're interviewing motherfucking Suzanne Lambert, okay?
Pew, pew,
And
pew.
I am so excited to say those words out loud. We have had this on the books for a little bit now. It's very exciting. Yeah, you people are gonna fucking love this interview. It's so good.
So good. She is precisely what you think she is, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
super funny, great conversation, and some really serious topics sprinkled in there too. So I think you all are going to love it. But first, if you're not following us on every social channel that we're on, which includes Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, Substack, then what are you doing?
Riff them off, girl.
We are at Pretty Furious Pod almost everywhere. And we also have a website. So if you're ever wondering where you can find all of that information, you can go to prettyfuriouspod.com.
Amazing. Mallory, you can't be pretty furious without being pretty first. Do you have a product this week?
I do.
What's your product, mate?
Well, if you must know, I really like going to get waxed. I'm a big fan of...
Perfect.
Big fan of European Wax Center. This is not an ad. They graciously, when they first moved to Madison, which is where I live, they graciously gifted me a year's worth of waxing. And I, waxed on and off over the years.
Slay. Okay.
Right. First of all, huge savings. Second of all, when you get used to waxing, like, because it's free, you just are invited into this whole world that you just never knew existed. So my product today is actually a product that I use all the time, but specifically after I wax, which is, or shave, if you're needing to do that, you can use it on your legs. It's called Treat, and it's their ingrown hair serum. So I have coarse hair and lots of hair, unfortunately. So this product kind of saves my life. It's amazing, and I highly recommend it to anyone who removes hair in any fashion on their body, head to toe.
Love that.
Yeah.
I need to get into waxing.
Yeah.
I know that's I feel like that's the adult thing to do. Like that's like the grown woman thing to do is to get waxed and not fuck around with any razors or mechanical devices that'll, get your shit taken care of.
I think it depends on your body. It depends on, first of all, it depends on what you want.
Yeah.
If you want hair all over your body, go for it.
Slay.
I personally find that to be uncomfortable. And I also I just have TMI, just so much hair. There's just so much hair.
I like to be bald, bitch.
I want to be bald. And also pregnancy, like prenatal vitamins and stuff is only making everything way worse. Go take care of that shit.
Amazing.
What's your product?
My product today is the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil. So this is meant to be both a lip pencil or an eye pencil. This is in the shade Endless Cacao.
Oh.
This is my second one of these, I think. I have I have 3 of them now. This is my third shade of these. These are amazing. They are worth every penny. I love that you can use them as both an eye pencil and a lip pencil. They stay on for a really long time. I love the colors. They're really easy to work with. Great formula, et cetera, et cetera.
When you say eye, is it a liner or like a...
Yeah,
shadow?
It's like a little liner. Yeah, you just throw a little zhuzh on there.
Ow,
Yeah,
ow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Is it the color of your nipple? I'm just kidding.
You know what? I think that this one is probably, no, it's a little too dark, but I remember someone telling me one time.
That was last week we talked about it.
Or yeah. It was but then I had this very vivid flashback to this kid in 7th grade who was like, "Your lips are the color of your nipples," and I was like, "What?"
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I was
erase that memory.
Fucking weirdo. He's a Trumper now. So,
erase that memory.
Yeah,
speaking
bizarre.
of memories that we would like to erase, How about the last 7 days? God,
Fully.
we live in a hellscape.
I would like to have a lobotomy. Yeah. Wow, what a doozy. Mallory and I kindly opted to not do any kind of like reactionary episode to any of the events from the last 7 days. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to do any more. I have nothing else to contribute to the conversation. So,
Well, anything I wanted to
yeah.
contribute to the conversation, and in case you live under a rock, we're just talking about the murder and aftermath of Charlie Kirk. But anything I wanted to contribute, I already said, and anything I further wanted to contribute, we put out through the Seneca Project. So
Right.
we've got a piece of content out right now that is undeniable, and that's all I'll say about that. What
Yep.
headline outside of the chaos made you pretty furious this past week?
So I actually wanted to do one that was timely for myself and my travels coming up. So next week I am headed to London, and this is not, again, one of those headlines that's not making me pretty furious, but that I really enjoy. It's from CNN. It says Epstein and Trump images are projected onto the walls of Windsor Castle upon his arrival. I just want to tell you that the people of the UK are fucking ruthless. They so not only did they project this onto the walls of the castle, but they had this huge tapestry that they laid over the lawn, and I was like, holy shit.
I think I saw it was like the largest photo ever or something.
Enormous. Yeah, it's enormous. So I just want to say kudos to the people of London for that.
You're gonna be walking
the
around
UK,
drunk, like fist bumping people, being like,
fully,
yeah,
fully. I don't know that anybody wants to fist bump an American right now, but all that to say, I just thought that was amazing, and release the Epstein files.
yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
Files?
Where are the files?
All of the distractions. Where are the files? My headline is actually just the aggregate of information that once again comes from Jessica Valenti. Jessica, be our friend.
Jessica, come on our podcast.
It is, yeah, be on our podcast. It is that over the course of everything that has transpired in the last 10 to 12 days, something that is going on kind of flying under the radar is that Republicans are looking to classify birth control, so implants, IUDs, oral contraceptives, all of that, looking to classify those as mechanisms of abortion and looking to pass legislation that makes being able to acquire those things more difficult. I'm not going to get into the weeds because it's different state by state, but Jessica Valenti's newsletter puts it all together nicely for you. And she goes state by state to let you know what's happening in what region and what legislation is pointing to in those places. So as we always talk about, reproductive rights are fundamental to our freedom as women and our ability to make choices for ourselves. And so the thought that the next push is that simply obtaining birth control will be more difficult, which we have been saying for a decade, is really frustrating. Me just doing that reminded me of, do you follow Andrewski?
Yes.
He goes,
I love him.
Well, I love him.
I want him on our podcast.
I know. He won't do them. We've asked for Seneca. He won't do them.
Respect that.
Yeah.
I do.
But anyway, that's what's made me pretty furious. And it is worth looking into if you're a woman listening to this podcast and you haven't heard about that because of all the other news. I really implore you to follow Jessica Valenti. Keep up to date with what's going on.
Yeah, you might even consider donating to her Substack. I think it's Abortion Every Day is what it's called.
It is, yeah. And she's fully funded by, I'm sure, I think she's fully funded by those contributions to her Substack. So if you consider her work.
She's doing amazing work in terms of keeping everybody updated on reproductive care. So yeah.
You know who else is doing amazing work?
I was gonna say, great segue. And we also talk about a little bit about reproductive care on this episode. So
yeah.
Who else is doing great work, Mallory?
Oh, just the internet's favorite mean girl. My favorite mean girl. Suzanne Lambert is here. Ding, ding, ding.
Pew, pew, pew.
Suzanne is a DC-based comedian. She's a content creator. If you haven't seen her yet, pull out your phone right now and go follow her. Her work has been featured so far in Washington Post, CNN, Newsweek, Glamour, Betches, among others, and she's appeared live on multiple shows, including CBS. She's also a comedian. She's doing live shows here and there, making appearances, so be sure and follow her to figure out where she's going to be next. She's known as the Regina George liberal. She delivers engaging, smart, and biting wit to an audience of over 1 million people across both TikTok and Instagram, and we are thrilled for you to listen to this interview with her today.
Let's bring her in. Suzanne, thank you so much for joining us today. We
Thank
are
you
so
for having
excited
me.
to have you.
Yay.
You brought a headline or a news topic that has made you pretty furious this week. Can you share it with us?
All of the mass shooting headlines, I'm so sick of it, and I say this as a gun owner. Like, I own a firearm. I'm from Georgia, my hometown. It is the law to own a gun. It's the law in Kennesaw. It's like our little slogan. Grown up around guns my whole life. I am not anti-gun. I am pro using your fucking brain. That is what I am pro. I am pro accountability. I am pro responsibility, because it's a massive responsibility, right? And it's never been about control. And that's what they want you to think, because they're receiving billions of dollars from the gun lobby. It's not about control. Put aside your little militia fantasies and just like use your brain, right? You can you can still own a gun and be pro Second Amendment and just have common sense and think that people should have to get background checks. 42% of guns are obtained without a background check. What? That's dumb.
Insane. That's
stupid.
fucking crazy material.
Stupid.
The constant dismissing of red flag laws, the constant dismiss, like just knowing, where are the guns? Who has them?
Literally.
Are they properly stored?
I grew up, like I said, I grew up around guns, and I remember being at this kid's house, and I thought it was super normal at the time. And there was a foreign exchange student from another country who was like, "Hey guys, can you put the rifles away?" There was just rifles leaning against the back door. And we're like playing beer pong next to it. Like, that is stupid as shit. And someone so easily could have died. It's about accountability and responsibility. And like you said, security. I think you should know how to properly secure and store your gun. And like when Kristi Noem, was trying to cosplay with her Party City extensions, like how she was pretending to be an ICE and holding the gun wrong, I'm like, you're also just embarrassing as hell, because now we know you don't even know how to fucking use it. Sorry. I'm just like, I have so many conservative, followers, and I grew up with them. Dude, use your brain. I know you don't want kids to die in school, and this is why they're dying. So just, what if we tried it out? What if we did a little trial run? Could we agree with that?
I mean, I think the thing that so many of us say, the rebuttal is always, if somebody wants to shoot someone, they will. The laws don't work. Well, in that case, then why the fuck do we have any laws? What's the point of a law ever?
Right. Correct.
The whole point is to curb any type of potential risk or danger. And I'm like you, I grew up in Alabama, and I live here now, but I remember being in high school, and my boyfriend in high school was a hunter. They would go hunting before they go to school.
I've gone hunting. Like,
the amount of times that he forgot to take his gun out of his gun rack in the car, and just would roll up to school with a gun in his vehicle. And to me, at that time, it was totally normal. I was like, oh, whoopsie. And now at 36 with children, I'm like, oh my God.
That's the most Southern shit I've ever heard in my life.
No, literally. That's so Alabama coded. And what you just said is such a good point. It's that mentality. Well, if they're going to shoot someone, they will. That would literally be like getting hit by a car and deciding not to go to the hospital because, well, we're all going to die one day anyway. What? That's such a lazy fucking approach to the world and life. Like, you wouldn't ever take that approach regarding any other topic. That's stupid.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the inability for people who hold those views to see how that applies to other things. And that seems to be the problem regarding so many of our issues in politics. If women are going to get abortions anyway, stop fucking banning them. If we're going to shoot people anyway, like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yep, bingo.
So infuriating to have to deal with people who lack any semblance of logic.
It's
Thank you
insane.
for sharing that makes you pretty furious as well.
Yeah. Well, that's a
Yeah.
great segue actually into my first question for you, Suzanne, which is you are somebody who identifies as sort of a former conservative, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there was a pivotal moment for you, for people listening who maybe don't know you or don't follow you. I would love to know when your ideology started to change.
Yeah, so there's like three key moments, and I'll try to be brief with each of them. But the first one was the 2016 election when the tapes came out where, Trump was talking about grab her by the pussy. And it wasn't even the tapes themselves. It was the tapes themselves, but more so where I kind of started being like, I don't know if I fuck with you guys anymore, was seeing how no one seemed outraged or disgusted. I just wanted one
Mm.
conservative to be like, no, I would have settled for, I'm still going to vote for him, but that's disgusting and fucked up. But I ultimately think the other candidate will ruin the country. I just wanted someone to speak out against it, and no one said anything. And I was like, oh, so you guys are on board with this? Because I'm not. Like, I'm not at
Yeah.
all. So I didn't vote for him, but I voted for the third party candidate in the 2016 election, which,
Gary Johnson, baby. What's
yeah.
up?
And I really thought I was doing something.
Murder.
I thought I was such a free thinker, dude. But, and honestly, like, I still don't love the Clintons. Whatever. That's a different conversation. But like, I don't fuck with the Clintons now. Don't like them. I think they're corrupt and evil. Anyway, so that was one, and then I got pregnant on accident. And was like, oh, I don't want to be pregnant. So I got an abortion, that was an insane kind of moment because I was so pro-life. Like, I wasn't like condoning bombing abortion clinics, but I thought I really was very anti-choice. I should say I was anti-choice. Um, and I have never been more confident in a decision, and I didn't even have to think about it. It was so I
Uh,
knew right away, and that was kind of insane because then I was okay, if I'm wrong about that, what else am I wrong about? And then things kind of started unraveling, and the final nail in the coffin was really when I started doing comedy and I would hear people's stories, right? Because typically when we hear about politics, it's not always in a storytelling setting, it's from the news. And when you hear, three comics in a row talk about their experiences with racism, and all of their experiences sound kind of similar to one another, I was like, so are all of them lying and they synced up stories and lies, or is the media misrepresenting, their lived experiences that they clearly know better, right? And I think comedy was so important for me too because I felt like I could learn and laugh because we are not the most welcoming bunch over here on the left, and we can really suck the fun out of things. We have a tendency to do that, and it drives me insane. But it was a place where I could learn and laugh, and I didn't have to respond. I was just listening, and I couldn't respond, right? It's frowned upon generally. So those were like my three big moments.
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
You talking about us not being the most welcoming bunch. It's kind of weird, right? Because generally speaking, Democrats or the left or liberals, progressive, whatever you want to call it, we kind of see ourselves as this like big tent, right? We've
Uh-huh.
got the LGBTQ community. Typically, we have most minorities, and there's all these people represented. And yet, the litmus test to be accepted is so high, right? Somebody says the one wrong thing, and we're just like, not
Yeah, we
you.
exile them immediately. Yeah.
Yep.
While
Yeah,
conservatives are
absolutely.
like, grab them by the pussy, and they're like, yeah.
And
Fully. Yeah.
literally, if right now I hopped on the internet and was like, I want to be conservative now, they would welcome me with open arms. And Mallory, what you said that I want to emphasize too, what pisses me off about that is I'm ranting and raving today. Good podcast to do it
Yeah.
on.
Love
Great,
it.
great
We
Um,
love
stuff.
it.
it's never the oppressed people who are acting that way, who are acting holier than thou. It's not people
Hmm.
of color. It's not queer people. It's not trans people. It's literally always annoying ass white chicks. That's always who it
Fully.
is. That is always who it fucking is. And I'm like, you have a trust fund. You don't live in the real world. And there's nothing wrong with you having a trust fund, dude. I'm jealous. I also wish I had one. But like, the
Yeah.
way I got the most insane comment the other day where this girl was mad at me for not making a video about some political event. I
I
think it was,
saw this on Threads that you
oh,
posted
yeah,
her
I
comment.
ended up,
I was like,
yeah. She
What
was
the
like
fuck is happening here?
talking like we're the white girl Avengers. She was like, we are called to protect minorities. We shouldn't even allow them to ask. I'm like, red flag, red flag, red flag.
Are you their savior?
Yeah, like your
white
savior complex. Yeah.
You know who understands better than everyone the feeling that I just can't make videos reacting to everything? My friends who are creators of color. None of them are, they know where I stand and I boost
Mhm.
their shit. You think you are a white savior and you're
Yeah.
annoying and you're making things worse for the people you pretend to protect. And that shit really pisses me off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love the way in which you I mean, what initially drew me to your content was the way in which you respond to people like that, or even obviously on the other end of the spectrum, just like dumb as fuck conservatives. So you kind of blew up seemingly overnight as I think when I started following you, I think you literally had maybe 1,000 followers on TikTok.
Aw!
I do wanna just say
Oh,
on the record
geez.
that Mallory and I were ground floor followers.
Wait,
Like, we
Yeah.
were really there at the
I
Yeah.
love
I was like,
that.
oh damn, this video blew up.
I
And then
know,
I
and
was
I
like,
was like, "Hell yeah, girl, let's go." Like, so
Y'all are
anyway,
so real. That's
just on the
awesome.
record.
I
But
didn't even know that. That's so
so
nice.
you like blew up overnight and you became dubbed the Regina George of the liberals was kind of like your, the term everybody gave you. So was it difficult handling this amount of attention in such a short period of time? And like what were the positives and negatives that were associated with that?
So I would say at first, no. I had always had in my mind that this was going to happen. It caught up with me eventually. Honestly, lately it has caught up with
Mm,
me. More so than when I started because it was such a whirlwind. I mean, the pros I've met so many people. I've met so many new friends. I get to do what I love for a living, which is insane. I feel like I'm dreaming every single day that I wake up. I'm so grateful. I've gotten just the people I've gotten to meet, at different like reproductive events and hearing their stories or meeting members of Congress. That's cool. Like I went to a tennis match with JVN. That was insane. He's like one of my idols. You know what I
so
mean?
fucking cool.
And now we're
Like
friends. I'm
I
like,
love
huh?
him.
The cons, the death threats are never never a fun time.
Super lit.
Yeah, I'm like, don't do that. God damn. Just say I'm ugly or stupid. That's fine. You can do that all day.
yeah.
Sometimes they can be really funny. Um, that's a con. I would say, if I'm just being super frank, people can be very weird in this space and very shisty and sketchy and are always looking for a reason to switch up, to talk shit, to say, oh, I had, this kind of experience, whatever. That kind of phoniness is a con, and I have like no respect for it. I don't like that kind of behavior that can accompany this space where we work in an attention economy. So sometimes people will literally do anything and throw you under the bus so they can get their attention.
Mm.
That sucks. And then I would also say, like, I just can't really live normally. I no one should do this. So this might be a bad example, but, I would post when I was at dinner, like, I
Yeah.
can't do that anymore. I'm even really self-conscious, about, like, any kind of identifying details about, like, where I live. And, like, I never had to care before. And I also worry about the people around me, my neighbors, things like
Yeah.
that, where that one time my neighbor, we do knitting circle at one of my other neighbors' houses. And they knit. I
What?
just talked the whole time. I gave up. I
That's
gave up. I'm
incredible.
like, this is ugly as hell. Like, I'm not doing this anymore, but I'll still come and talk shit. Don't get me wrong. Wouldn't miss that. But my neighbor, after I had received so many threats, my neighbor had her husband start walking her to knitting circle. And that broke my heart because I don't want people in my life to suffer the consequences of me kind of being a like a public figure. Like that
Yeah.
really sucked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is
Yeah,
Overall
totally.
positive for sure. I don't want to end on a negative. Like it's been great.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
I think
Totally.
also we're recording, a week after Charlie Kirk's death, and things are very heightened right now online. And I was mentioning to you before we started recording that my hometown is on a real kick against me, which the people who are leading this charge I have zero respect for, I don't care about, I forgot existed. I have no issue.
Literally,
I
dude.
really don't care. However, my parents live there. My family lives there. And so
Yeah.
in what you were saying, like, I personally am not super concerned about any of this, but knowing that my parents have to read it, my aunts and uncles are sitting there and they're fuming because these are people that they know, right? So, how do you deal with the online hate and the bullying, and maybe how has your family dealt with this catapult into this space as well?
That's funny. I haven't really asked them as much as I probably should how it's affected them. I mean, I think my family knows I'm tough and they handle it well when I handle it well. Like if I'm struggling, I think it's tough for them when I struggle. But if
Hmm.
I'm good, I think they're mostly good. And it's also like it is a part of the job, especially as a comedian, to think that I'm above criticism and people talking shit. That would be an insane ego response, right? They can say they're totally welcome to say what they want to say as long as it's not violent and threatening.
Mhm.
But I think it's hilarious. Like I genuinely do. That's what's wrong about that. Something's wrong with my brain. Like this girl, honest to God, I'm sorry. It's actually they're a non-binary creator. Apologies. They made a video about me. So funny that I reposted it
Mm.
because they were mimicking a video that I had done and they were pretending to be me. They were um, what do you want me to do? Call my stock trader so I can buy a Lexus? And I just fuck with them. I was like, this is hilarious, but I would never drive a Lexus. Like, I just like talk shit because, like, I know what they think of me. So I'm like, I'll just feed into it. I think it's hilarious. When they're actually funny, which is so rare, I really do appreciate it. That was a really funny joke. I thought it was hysterical. So there's something wrong with my brain. Genuinely, the people who make me angry, the haters, are usually not people on the right. They're just dumb and uncreative, and they'll
Mm.
just be like, "You're stupid," and I'm like, "Okay, whatever." As is their right. They can say that. They can think that's fine. It's people on the left, honestly, who come for me more, and in ways that I think it's totally fine to be critical, but they don't do it in ways that are fair or honest, you know?
Mhm.
And they love throwing in my face that I used to be a conservative, as if I should live a life of penance, for holding political opinions as a teenager. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
like
bizarre.
they love talking about it. They love throwing it back in my face. Like, "Oh, your former conservative is really coming out." And I'm like,
Oh,
"Not."
weird. Because we spend so much time talking about how to appeal to moderates and people who are like slightly right. How do we bring them over? So to pull somebody over, so to speak, and then just berate them.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, totally.
And I think it's important to call it out because we need people on the right to see that we are not all like that, you know?
Mhm.
And sometimes people on the right will follow me because I will be talking shit about people on the left. And
Mhm.
they like that I am talking shit about people on the left. They don't even necessarily know that I am also on the left, but they stick around because they think I'm funny. And like we talked about, that's where it starts sometimes.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it makes me think a lot about like just the conversation of purity politics and like how Democrats have severely failed in terms of getting anybody to come over to our side because we don't invest in media, we don't invest in influencers. Our media strategy is deeply flawed. As somebody who's really immersed in this work and you are constantly meeting with lawmakers and other political content creators, what do you foresee as the future of the Democratic Party in this space? Like how do we do that where we don't come off as like just a bunch of, higher educated like pieces of shit who think that like anybody who doesn't hold a college degree is like a fucking loser and really stupid, and if you're a former conservative, we hate you. Like
Yeah, or if you're
how
from
do
the
we avoid
South,
that?
you're stupid.
Yeah.
They love to talk about Southerners as if we're idiots. And firstly, that's you're just wrong. And secondly, who do you think that's helping? I don't make sweeping statements like conservatives are stupid. You won't really see me doing that unless they're my haters. They're not all stupid. That would be insane to say that all conservatives are stupid. What? That's not gonna help broker a conversation. Um, but I think what the future of it should be is we need all types. We need to do more of a Trojan horse effect where we are talking about things and mixing politics in. The right does that very well. And in order to do that, we have to create, we being people on the internet who consume media, have to create space for people to do that. Because, and I just made a video about this, but if I don't have a reaction to every single current event, which I simply don't, that's not what I do. Being a reaction machine is not good for me mentally, and it's not fun or creative, and I don't enjoy it. If I don't have a reaction video to something, people get like genuinely mad at me. Or if I'll post, a video doing my makeup, they'll be like, why aren't you talking about XYZ? I'm like, dude, I'm a whole ass person who has a
Yeah.
whole ass life, and I don't
Right.
only think about politics, and that would be insane if I did. And if you are
Mhm.
only thinking about politics, take a breath, go for a walk. That's not healthy, and it's easy for me to say that as someone who is incredibly privileged, and I recognize that. But no one should only be consuming political media. That's not
Mhm.
healthy. So
Yeah.
I think we have to create space for people to stay in their lanes and do the shit that they are good at and the things that they enjoy. And if they're not doing the things you want, guess what? You can go fucking do it. That's what I did. People weren't talking about things the way I wanted to, so I did it. I'm like, I'm never going to check every box for you. So I empower
Yeah.
you to go out on your own and do it, like genuinely.
I grew up in a very liberal household. My parents are old liberal hippies, and my mom canvassed for Elizabeth Warren and Hillary
That's
Clinton. And my mom is just very immersed in local politics. And one thing that I really struggle with is having this sort of tolerance for people on the right. Even though I went to a Southern school, even though I have friends who still live in the South who hold deeply conservative beliefs that are very opposing to mine, I have a real tolerance problem. And I think that that is a very common sort of thread amongst people on the left, is that they just don't even fucking tolerate people on the right. They don't even want to have a conversation because they think that it's not worth their time. So
Mhm.
what I find so fascinating about like your journey is that this kind of began for you as you were sort of being mean to conservatives, but then that started this conversation between conservatives and liberals through your content. And then now you're able to sort of spin that wheel in terms of you have these conversations with conservatives, you'll make fun of liberals if it makes sense. Like, so
Yeah.
I am just so fascinated by like how that has kind of worked out for you. And like I really think that there's something to be learned there from those types of conversations with people.
Yeah, and if a conservative wants to ask a question in good faith,
Mhm.
I'll respond. We can have a conversation. So I will say, in my own personal life, I'm not always the best about it. I still have, conservative family members, as you might imagine, and sometimes I'm just like, I cannot fucking talk about this with you right now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
And there's certain, but I also have to remember, and I think a lot of white chicks do this as well. And this is something I had to check myself for. Like in 2020, after the murder of George Floyd, I can point to moments where I'm like, I misappropriated other people's rage that was not mine, right? Like I got like too jacked up on some of the things. And I think it would have been more helpful for me in those moments to have been able to stay level headed and rational and had conversations with people who needed to hear it, so that the people actually being oppressed, like Black people and people of color, don't fucking have to.
Yeah.
So I look at that and I'm like, that wasn't mine. That was performative in a way. And I try not to
Mm,
do that. And part of that is being able to be level-headed and have conversations. But then sometimes I'm just like, okay, you're an idiot. I don't even feel like I don't like debate necessarily, but like I'll respond. You know what I mean? But I'm not just gonna go back and forth forever.
Yeah, I
yeah,
I
totally.
think, Maggie, to your point, and I don't know if you feel this way, Suzanne, but for me, my intolerance has grown. I mean, we are a full decade into
Correct.
the pandemic. So, in
And that's
2015,
fair.
2016, and 2018, when I ran for Congress, I was very like, people just don't know. We need to have conversations. We need to have coffee. And as a person running for office, which is already exhausting enough, I sat down with so many white women so many white women
My
to talk
condolences.
about abortion, to talk about some of these topics on a personal level and like see if we could come to some understanding, right? A decade later, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck else to tell you.
I hear you.
The information
Right.
there. And that this past week with, people saying there's more context to his words and he wasn't a racist.
Bro.
Show me where he's a racist. And I'm to the point now where I'm like, if you are so good at doing your own research, if you've decided not to vaccinate your children because you are a superstar, tell me why you can't find the racism in this comment. Like, I don't understand.
Literally.
That's Darwinism, baby.
So
Yeah.
I think
That's
I
what that
hear
is.
you, but then I'm also like,
I
how
hear
are
that.
we 10 years into this?
Yeah,
And
totally.
I think how we appeal to that is really important. I don't say conservatives are stupid. My actual talk track on a lot of it is, I know you're not stupid. I went to school with you. I know you're good at your job. I know whatever. And because you're not stupid, that is why I implore you to actually fucking think about this. I know you guys do not actually believe that Trump is not in the Epstein file. I know you fucking know he is. Do not pretend like I don't know. You know what I mean? Because I
Mhm.
don't think you're stupid. I don't think anyone is that stupid, actually.
Yeah.
So I try to appeal in a different way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I totally hear you. And it depends on the day, right?
So
Something
we've
over it.
talked a lot
Right.
about how there's a difference between, to me, there's a difference in somebody who holds conservative values and somebody who's wearing a MAGA hat.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like the rhinestone tees. Like that's when I was like, okay, I liked the Romneys. I liked their little Christmas card when they're all wearing plaid. Who
For
are these like
sure.
trash like freaks with rhinestones and like permanently cigarette stained fingertips?
And
Like,
now we
ew.
have
Yeah.
a solid gold Oval Office and a country club for the White House.
Dude,
Disgusting.
the
Yeah.
Rose Garden. I'm like, what?
Oh.
So like, yeah, I totally agree. There's a difference between like MAGA and traditional conservatives. For example, I totally understand someone who is anti-choice. They want fewer abortions in the world. I also would want fewer abortions in the world for no other reason than they're painful and expensive and hard to get and sometimes illegal, all of the things. So if we both want that end result of fewer abortions, just like I would want there to be fewer root canals or whatever, right? Like anytime you can have fewer medical procedures, generally a good thing, that aren't elective. Then if we both want fewer abortions and we know these specific things like sex ed and free contraceptives and healthcare and all of those things lead to fewer abortions, then you have to be reasonable and meet me in the middle so that we can both get that end result that we both want. The problem
Right.
is you are obsessed with misinterpreting the Bible to cover whatever political issue you've decided you care about. And then we can't be reasonable and normal. That's what really
Mhm.
frustrates me about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. A lot of people in the last like week or so, we've been seeing a couple of political influencers or commentators or even just people who got online and decided to finally speak out shortly after Charlie Kirk's murder. A couple of them have gotten fired from their jobs because of this.
Mhm.
One of which who will shortly be on our podcast
Oh,
in a couple
nice.
of weeks. And I'm curious to know your thoughts on all of this. How this sort of crossover between influencers online or creators online speaking their beliefs and like hello First Amendment and their jobs and how that intersects.
Y'all have to look at your social media policy at your job before you're posting on the internet. Trust me, I knew mine frontwards and backwards in my old employer, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you do have to use your brain.
Yeah, totally.
If it's in violation of a company policy, I understand why you would then be a risk to that company. Like that's just
Mhm.
it's not even
It's
is
just
it
business.
right or wrong. It's
Yeah.
just what it is.
Yeah,
Um
totally.
I think some people need to invest in like a diary or a burner account.
A therapist, maybe.
Honestly, I should probably get a burner account. I need to
Yeah,
shut the
right.
fuck up.
I don't have a real job, so I can say whatever, but if you have a real job, you do have to exercise discretion, which can be difficult. I get it. But so on that end, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have put that. And also, I don't have a lot of skin in this game because in 2020, I was on people's ass fucking calling people's employers, but it was because they were saying racist ass shit.
Right,
Not
yeah.
not talking shit about a racist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
right.
Yeah.
It's not the
Yeah.
same. They're like, but you did that. I'm like, do you honest to God think these are the same thing?
They
Like, I
do
don't
Yeah,
though, and that's
totally.
the
They
problem.
do. Yeah,
The
yeah.
issue with people getting fired right now is that they're getting fired for saying this man's own words. Like people
which is
repeating what
hilarious.
Correct.
he said.
Yeah.
Like my friend,
They didn't make it up.
my friend who's an influencer, I think it's Jen. She made a video all she did was read a Bible verse that obviously is talking about immigrants and people lost their shit. She didn't even say her opinion and then read the Bible verse. She literally just read the
Jen
Bible.
Hamilton, yeah, it blew up.
Yeah, I love Jen
everywhere.
Hamilton.
And I'm like, guys, hey, that weird little feeling you have when you watch that video, that's the feeling that I got. Like that, listen to that feeling because you're experiencing a dissonance between your mind and your spirit and what you're doing. And your spirit hates that and it's trying to get rid of it. I could talk about that forever. Going back to your question, I think people should exercise discretion in what they post online. And I think that, ask yourself if it's worth losing your job over. I think people who are making it their personal life mission to go after people's jobs because of a parasocial relationship with an influencer is strange. Though, as I say that,
you mean the parasocial relationship with Charlie Kirk? Yes, it's clarifying for everyone.
like if I die an untimely death, please don't. Actually, would I want people to get fired for talking shit about me? Honestly, no. Honestly, I wouldn't. I want people to be able to like afford their bills. Radical belief. But I think they're just going about it in such a loser way. And I'm like, I didn't even make a video about Charlie Kirk because like I said, I don't always have something to contribute. Other people have, said a lot. They're like, I'm going to get you fired for talking about Charlie Kirk. I was like, one, I didn't. And people are mad at me for that. And two, fired from what, babe?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let
video,
myself know.
and it made me laugh because that people were commenting, next thing you'll be is unemployed. And I was like, for my own business? Like,
fully.
I work for me, babe. This thing, like, you seem to be in your house all day long. And I was like, and aren't you mad at it? Because I work for myself.
And it's cute. It's giving Ralph Lauren home. Yours is giving Sheen, bitch. That's why they're pissed.
It's just so funny to me. And also this idea that liberals are always crying about something and liberal tears and you guys words, you focus too much on words. And yet here we are watching everyone unravel about people's words about a man who was awful.
I'm like, can we all stop?
Fully.
You can also hate what I'm saying and not think that I should get fired for saying it. Like, you don't have to agree with everything I say. And conservatives, like, they get so mad. I'm like, all I do is, like, say your makeup looks like shit. And you want to kill me? Like, what? Like, it's actually nuts,
It is.
But
I also have to remember sometimes. So I'm just thinking about this past week, like, we have the outlet. The three of us, to some degree, have an outlet to share our thoughts and opinions and be heard, right? Because we do have, on a microscopic level compared to you, still an audience of some sort who's listening to us. So instead of me, I don't ever comment unless I'm agreeing with you and I'm like, yeah, I don't ever comment on stuff. If anything, I just scroll. I'm like, oh, interesting. Or I hate that, unfollow. That's it. I don't ever say anything. And I have to remember that sometimes these people scream into the comments and into the void because no one else is listening to them.
Yeah.
And I guess
that's so true.
I guess if that's the role that we play as people that they also have some sort of weird online relationship with, then fine too.
Yeah. I was just saying that to Ty the other night that like so much of my time now spent on social media is actually not at all consuming social media. It's like replying to comments. It's creating the content. It's like posting it. It's getting inspiration for my next piece of content. It's like it goes into the job side of it versus like consumer side of it. I don't even know what the fuck you're posting, Pam. I don't know. Like you and Brantley seem like you're having a real great time, but I don't know what the fuck to say to you. I have nothing. I have nothing. So yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
But
it's really weird and it's just lame. Like I'm gonna get you fired. I'm like, you're a fucking dork. You sound shut up. Like you're a nerd. I'm gonna tell my mom like that kid grew up to now be like, I'm gonna call your boss. I'm like, Oh, so you do know how to use a search engine to find an answer to something. Look at that.
Ooh,
That's
Maybe do
crazy.
that
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. That's
Do
crazy. Yeah.
more of that, please.
Mhm.
Also, though, I do find myself going like, but show me the lie. You're making fun of Nancy Mace's makeup. Show me where you're wrong.
I'm trying to
Tell
help
me where
her.
you're wrong. Then okay. Yeah.
Nancy Mace owes you a lot of money.
Yeah, I'll
My
go to her office. Dude, I will literally help you out. I don't want you looking a mess with your sad little church pearls. God, did you see her interview where she had her dumb little updo?
No, but I
Oh,
have seen Don Lemon going after her this week, and I appreciate it.
Dawn.
I love him.
I
Don's
What
love
an
not
icon.
messing
Dawn.
around.
I have never met someone with more perfect skin in my life. His
Than
skin is
Don.
crazy.
I
Yes.
believe that. Yeah. That
He
feels
says
right.
it's coconut
Beautiful
oil.
man.
You are immersed in this shit day in and day out. And you said you don't always react to posts. You don't make tons of reactionary content. But even so, you're still immersed in like the politics of it all
Yeah.
pretty constantly. How are you keeping the faith right now? Like, what are you doing in your own day-to-day to not lose your mind?
They want more like pettiness. Pettiness. I am powered by pettiness 100%. I'm not powered by love. I'm not powered by hope and joy. I am powered by being a petty ass bitch. That is what fills me with energy. And they want literally nothing more in the world than for all of us to throw in the towel and say, you know what? You've had it. You get it your way. Like, I'm done fighting it. That is what they want. And we can't give them what they want. I'm a Scorpio. Like, I'm very crazy and I play a long game. So I have to remind myself that that's what they want, and I don't want to give them what they want ever. And that doesn't mean that I don't ever kind of take a breather. Like, I'd honestly say I'm kind of taking a breather right now.
Mhm.
I need to. Like, I'm just in like a functional freeze and I have to. And I think also remembering that, like, you have to believe something can happen and something can change and something can improve in order for it to.
Mhm.
The cynicism, I get it. I understand why people are feeling cynical, but that defeated kind of mentality that people have it's not helpful and it's not helping anyone, right?
Yeah,
And if you're
totally.
feeling that way, just log off. It's fine,
Mhm.
but don't be in my comments like there's no point. You can't think that though, because then you're also demotivating other people, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's the point in voting in this election if it's not going to change it? Like, that's so unhealthy.
Mhm.
So sometimes it means putting on my rose-colored glasses a little bit and like gaslighting the shit out of myself. But like,
Yes.
I think you have to sometimes.
Mhm.
You have to believe like things are gonna get better. The good always wins or
Mhm.
triumph. And that motherfucker is gonna die soon. Let's be so real. So
Fully. Oh my
And
God,
if they
yeah.
thought we were celebrating, which we weren't, but if they thought we were,
Oh, bitch.
the parties will
yeah,
look very, very, very different.
right. Yeah. And like I also, I didn't celebrate. Like, I'm like in general, I don't think people getting shot in the head is good for our country. Kind of like
Absolutely
Yeah.
what I'm
not.
Not
saying.
great.
Exactly.
It's
Not
just
great.
not. I also
Yeah.
don't like him. These two things can be true at once. You know what I mean? I didn't
Mhm.
cry and listen to REM in a dark room when he died, but I also wasn't doing TikTok dances to it. Come on, guys.
Fully. Fully.
I hope someone does that. If I know I keep talking about like dying an untimely death. If that does happen, if people did like funny dances to it, that would be funny. I would be okay with that.
I would do a TikTok dance for you if
You
you
can write
really
that
wanted me
down.
to. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
did a whole video like a year and a half ago. It was one of my first viral videos. Must-haves at my funeral. It's really funny. It was like there's gonna be a guest list, but no one will know there's a guest list until they get there. And then I'm
Mhm.
gonna have someone on the intercom if they're on the no list. You are not allowed to come, because you did XYZ. Like humiliating people with a megaphone.
Mhm.
Talking about sort of what keeps fueling you and how you stay in the fight. What do you want for the future of what do you want for your future and what do you want for the future of the country?
Whew, what do I want for my future? I want to always, be able to make content that is fun, that helps people feel heard, that ideally bridges gaps where there are gaps. We desperately have to find a semblance of normalcy that I am just not seeing, which is kind of why I'm taking a little bit of a break, just a little one. Um, I want to just be able to have fun with my friends. And I want to be able to also be in community with people like y'all who are doing this kind of work and uplift all of each other's shit, because I think that the community aspect of it is something really unique to our side. When you have a community like MAGA that is built on things I wouldn't consider tenets of belonging, like anger and hatred, that's not actual community. That's like convenience and proximity. That's not, you know, you don't actually build bridges there. And I would like to be able to do that. And I want to be mad famous, obviously. I've said this,
Fucking
since I was a
same.
kid. Yeah, I want to be famous as shit. I want to be on a Super Bowl commercial and for my ex-boyfriends to have to see it. And then for their team that's playing in the Super Bowl to lose.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That is actually my biggest professional goal. Yeah. So if any commercials want to make that happen, that would be sick.
Honestly, same.
We got you.
That would be amazing. I just imagine how much that would ruin their day, and it actually like brings, you know, tears to my eyes.
Sure.
And what I want for our country, I want people, and I think in a way it's happening a little bit, maybe. I want people to wake up to the fact that all of this is being done so that billionaires can just sit on their piles of money and you have to suffer. And they don't respect you and they don't give a shit about you. And I want people to realize it's not about left and right and whose team is better and having weird little mascots and red hats. It's about us versus them. It's really about class consciousness. And I think the second people wake up to that, I hope there will be a shift. I don't want our economy to have to get so much worse for that to happen. But I mean, I think hopefully the farmers are waking up a little bit. But yeah, that was kind of a heavy answer. But I want to be able to build bridges. I want to have fun. I want to make people laugh. I want to be able to cut through the noise and get to people. And I want people to just wake up to what is happening and realize that it's actually really great to be able to change your mind. And being able to shift my perspectives was such a weight off of my shoulders. And I'm so much happier and I like who I am so much more now. And that is also possible for other people who are maybe feeling that uneasy dissonance and that feeling that I also had.